Good timing. Good timing, John.
Good evening, everyone. Welcome to the July 9th Board of Works Public Works meeting. Our first item of business will be the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, we'll move on to the roll call members now.
Sure. Mayor Gentry.
Present.
Jane Taylor.
Present.
Bill Stoner.
Present.
Dick Robertson.
Present.
Alan Milburn.
Present.
Thank you.
All right, now we'll move on to the approval of the minutes. Any questions, comments, changes to the amendments or to the minutes? Okay, we'll entertain a motion to approve the minutes.
Make a motion we approve the minutes.
We have a motion to approve the minutes. Is there a second?
I second the motion.
Motion is second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? All right, minutes are approved. All right, now we'll move on to department head reports. First up, Captain Morgan. We'll be easy on you. It's your first time.
Thank you. I appreciate it. Good evening. During the period between June 25th and July 6th, the Lebanon Police Department responded to 650 calls for service. A total of 20 persons were arrested for the following crimes. 9 were wanted on warrant, 2 public intoxication, 2 operating while intoxicated, 2 possession of methamphetamine, 1 possession of marijuana, 1 possession of a controlled substance, 1 disorderly conduct, 1 leaving the scene of an accident, 1 driving while suspended. 1 handgun carry license was issued by our office. We are happy to announce that the Lebanon Police Department's parade float won grand prize in this year's 4th of July parade. A big thank you to our wonderful wives and officers who came together to build the float. The float really was a family project with officers, spouses, and even the LPD children coming together on several work nights to complete the float. The LPD family is a very proud family, and this was evident by the number of family members who volunteered to walk beside the float in the parade, all of them wearing their LPD proud shirts. Department-wide firearms training was conducted on June 26th, 27th, and 28th, and again on July 5th. The increased training is directed towards getting officers familiar with the Indiana Law Enforcement Training Board's new qualification course of fire. And on June 28th, LPD held the department's first annual shooting competition. The officers shot a running combat course, and Officer Clark Blecker won that this year. The Lebanon Police Department is accepting applications through Friday, July 27th for the position of patrol officer. All applicants must be over 21 and under 36. U.S. citizens, have no felony record, and be a high school GED graduate. Pre-applications can be picked up at the Lebanon Police Department Monday through Friday, 8 a.m. to 4 p.m., or if contacted, we can email the application out. Chief Wormuth wanted everyone to know he is always willing to meet with any person interested in a career with the Lebanon Police Department. So if anyone has questions or wants more information, please stop by the police station and ask to see him.
Okay, thank you, Captain Morgan. Any questions for Captain Morgan?
No. I have one final thing.
Yeah, sure.
I'm sorry. Finally, we wanted to acknowledge all of the hard work put into making the 4th of July celebration a success. As the public celebrated, the men and women of not only the police department, but of the Boone County EMS and Lebanon Fire were out on the streets and in the parks ensuring everyone's safety and welfare. We especially want to thank John Messenger and the Parks Department and Larry Lee and the Street Department. They were out there working hard in the heat and every day for this past week, and they deserve much praise.
Yep, I absolutely agree with that. Yeah, and thank you guys for all your hard work too. I think the 4th went off without a hitch, so appreciate all the hard work there. So
thank you.
Okay, thank you, sir. All right, next up is Fire Department, Chief Batts.
Good evening, everyone. Since the last Board of Works meeting, Lebanon Fire has made 123 emergency calls for service, logged 90 training hours, performed 25 commercial inspections, installed 2 car seats, and participated in 1 public education event. Work has started on the basement fire simulator at the Boone County Training Tower. LFD is heading up the project. This is an original design created by the LFD staff. The unique training structure will allow firefighters to train in adverse conditions under a controlled environment. The training structure is only one of 2 known in the United States. We would like to thank Matt Mitchell of Mitchell Excavating for his assistance in digging the basement. This is going to be a great facility. We're hoping that we can have it completed in about 2 months, and we are putting the sweat equity into this training project, and we're just really excited about it. This Thursday, Deputy Chiefs Baird, Wiry, and I will be attending an ISO grading scale class. This is hosted by the Zionsville Fire Department. ISO officers will be on hand to discuss prepping cities for their ISO grading. Now that the 4th of July activities are over, we're going to be preparing for the 4-H fair, getting the incident action plan put in place and coverage for the North Track. And I would like to echo, excuse me, Captain Morgan, we lost track of the number of the praise that we received about the park, the festivities. It just went off without a hitch, and it seemed like the incident numbers were down this year for sure.
Very good. Any questions for Chief Batts? Good, Jane.
Chuck, do we still have plenty of car seats available?
Say it again, I'm sorry.
Do you still have plenty of car seats?
Oh, yes,
available?
we have plenty of car seats available for walk-ins and by appointment.
I've sent 5 or 6 mothers down there. I just wanted to make sure.
Absolutely. We continually get grants
I
throughout
thought
the
you
year.
did, but I just wanted to check. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Any other questions for Chief Batts? For Destin Police, any questions from the public? Okay, thank you, sir. All right, next up, Parks Department. John Messenger.
Good evening. We had a great turnout. It was real hot, dry weather, though, for the 4th of July events. I want to thank all the departments. I'll echo Captain Morgan there. All the departments pitched in, kept everybody safe. Everything went off without a hitch. The 4th of July committee did a great job on the parade, let alone all the events that we held at Memorial Park, along with all the nice dinners and great community events. I would also like to thank the storm department, Dave Newell, for helping us with a sinkhole. We had a sinkhole at Abner Longley along the pedestrian bike path at Abner Longley. Just mentioned it to him in the afternoon at lunch, and I'll be darned if that afternoon it was filled. And he's got such a good crew there that we sure do appreciate it. He's a one-man crew, but he did a great job, and I do appreciate it. Kept everybody safe. We're approaching the deadline for sign-ups for the Lebanon Youth Football League. You can look at their website to get signed up for that. The Boys and Girls Club are also preparing for fall soccer at Reese Park, so we're looking forward for them being out there in August. Free movie night had a great turnout this last Friday, the 6th, at the baseball field at Memorial Park. Weather was awesome, and mental health and Pascal did a great job. Had a very good turnout. I was surprised with the carnival noise and all that, but the carnival actually turned the noise down so they could hear the movie, which also benefited them later because all the kiddos ran over and rode some rides. The pool staying extremely busy. I want to say the park staff and the lifeguards, managers, captains, just doing an incredible job out there. Had quite a few saves this past few weeks, from heat stroke to you name it, kids getting where they shouldn't be. Anyway, they've done a great job. We're at capacity about every day that you reach 85, 90 degrees. We are full. We have about the same amount as we did June with the swim lessons are going on now. Let's see, I have 45, 50 in each class in mornings and evenings, and that will run for about 2 weeks now. Just started those up today. In fact, they'll be out there in just a little bit. The Battle of the Barbecues coming up Saturday, August 11th at Memorial Park from 5 to 7 at the large shelter. There again, hopefully we'll have lots of teams out there and raise some money for the Cancer Society. On Saturday, August 18th, we will host our mother-son superhero party. The price is $10 for the mother-son couple, and the event will be from 5 to 8. Captain America, Spider-Man, and Batman will be there. It's our first event of this kind. Looking forward to it. It'll be held at the Memorial Shelter. You have hot dogs, Kona ice, games, and face painting with the moms or mother figures and their sons. And this will be held over by the big shelter again by the cabin. It's our first time for this event. Looking forward to it. Also, we need volunteers for Fright Forest. That will be here before you know it, October 25th, 27th. Can't tell it with the 90-degree temps, but looking forward to the cooler temps anyway. We could use all the volunteers we could. We're starting to set up scenes for that and having monthly meetings, or every 2 weeks right now we're having meetings. Also, the Merchants will be playing this Wednesday at 7 o'clock. They're having a pretty good season this year. Hopefully they'll go as far as they did last year, which was to the championship. So we wish them the best of luck again. Other than the parade route lining, everything's been going smooth out at the park. We'll probably have that discussion at the park board meeting, which is this Wednesday at 7 o'clock. So anybody that would like to have any input on it or anything to say, come out to the park board meeting in this room on Wednesday at 7 o'clock.
Thank you, John. Any questions from the board? Any questions from the public? Okay, thank you, sir.
Thank you.
All right, next up is Engineering Department.
Thank you, and good evening. Engineering Department report for this evening. A couple updates. East Street, things are just wrapping up there. Some punch list items. Happy to report thanks to the Street Department and Dave Newell with the Stormwater Department, as well as Derek Warren. We were able to get some additional signs put up last week just in time for the 4th of July. Those would be some no golf cart signs, the pedestrian crossing warning signs. Those were all installed on July 3rd, just in time. But hopefully people notice those, and hopefully it makes the corridor a little safer for people in and around the area. We have some more signs that are coming, probably be here before the next meeting, but some trail rule signs, things of that nature, will be going up as well. Miscellaneous water utility repairs is really what's happened since the last meeting along East Street. Nothing you really probably noticed, with the exception of one fire hydrant that was really high, and you'll notice it's down to where it should be now. Other things are really below grade or have to do with the water valves or water meters. Those things are being taken care of. We did pour curbs on Busby Street on Saturday. So that was a much needed repair, I think, for Busby Street. So drive by there, take a look at that. It's kind of a new experimental process, but I think we're pretty pleased with how it worked, and we're looking at possibly implementing that in other areas. Work expected over there on East Street before the next meeting. Again, weather pending, but now that we've got the 4th of July parade out of the way, we're going to let the contractor go back in and do some of the repairs to sidewalks, to the asphalt, to curbs that we had. We didn't really want to tear up anything right before the parade, but now we'll get back to some of those things, as well as the final asphalt surface coat on Busby Street. Again, things are progressing fine there. No real concerns. I did want one item for action tonight, since we have now authorized and executed the contract assignment, transferring the East Street contracts from the Lebanon Stormwater Board to the Lebanon Board of Works. We do have a change order that we've kind of been holding that we need to process. The change order was essentially authorized through the Stormwater Board, but no action was really taken because these were items of a nature where we wouldn't know until the end of the project what the total expense would be. So these are things like undercutting bad soils on the job, T&M removal and replacements for existing retaining walls and concrete block retaining walls along the job, some lowering of some some existing storm sewer structures that had to be lowered as we went through the project. Again, those couldn't quite be quantified in the construction plans, so those were authorized, but now we need to pay the contractor for these things. Some abandonment of old field tiles, some removal of some geotextile fabric, corrugated pipe installations, just some miscellaneous things, additional sodding and regrading around the backs of the trail. So all these items were really things that we've been keeping track of and authorized the contractor months ago to take care of. but now we need to close out that contract as we're nearing the end. There may be one more change order before we get to the end of this, but this is change order number 4 that we would be asking for approval for. The change order has 2 parts to it. Part for Lebanon Utilities. The fee associated with that is $77,781.77. The Board of Works portion of the change order is $147,379.50.
Okay. Do you just want to do that right now, Kevin? Is that all right?
That's fine, if that's up to you.
We'll do this right now in the report.
Paperwork on
We got it late, unfortunately.
it? Okay.
I have it here
Okay,
if you
okay,
need to see
that's
it.
fine. No, I'm just,
Any questions from Kevin from the board? Again, the Stormwater Board already approved this. This is just the formality of us approving the overall implementation of it. So any questions for Kevin on this? Okay, I would entertain a motion to approve change order number 4.
I'll make a motion, we approve change order number 4 on the Northeast Street project.
We have a motion to approve. Is there a second? Second. Motion and a second. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Those opposed? That change order has been approved.
Thank you.
pardon me, sorry. What company is it for the
This is for
motion?
Atlas Excavating.
Thank you.
I've got copies for you, Tanya. This will need to be executed by this board, and then we will forward it on to the Lebanon Utility Service Board, where they will also execute it. We're both parties to the contract agreement with Atlas.
Okay.
Moving on with the rest of the engineering report, Northern Interchange Feasibility Study. I won't spoil anything there. We'll have our report that will be issued, our presentation issued later tonight at the City Council meeting, where there'll be our consultants, American Structure Point, will be presenting the findings of that report. Moving on to downtown, work completed since the last meeting. Water tie-ins on Main Street. I can't thank the crew from White Construction, as well as the inspectors from Butler, Fairman, and Seifert, as well as our friends at Lebanon Utilities for all the hard work there. For those of you who don't know, we did that water tie-in starting at about 9 o'clock on last Monday night, July 2nd. And, well, I was there till about 1 o'clock, and then I called it a night. But I know there were a lot of other people that spent the night on Main Street in downtown taking care of those things and making sure things were tied in. And so I can't thank everybody enough for all the hard work that went into making sure that happened. And we did that in a way that minimized the impact to our residents and our business owners downtown. Other work complete. Conduits are all in on Main Street. Storm sewer installation is in, with the exception of one structure that will wrap up shortly once we finish the water tie-ins. Light pole bases have been installed in the alley south of Main Street. Courthouse wall footing is now all complete. We've completed the Insta valve installation. This is a valve that was inserted into the live 12-inch main on State Road 39 that facilitated those Main Street tie-ins. So again, we thank Lebanon Utilities for their role in making sure that happened. Subgrade preparation continues to be ongoing. Curbs along the north side of Main Street are now installed. And I'll tell you, it might look like chaos from the ground, but I had the opportunity to take a pretty high vantage point last week, and it's really starting to come together, especially at that angle. You can see the parking spaces starting to develop. You can see the curb lines, the sidewalk lines starting to develop. And putting those curbs in is a big step forward. Sidewalks we're going in today on the north side of Main Street. Water service laterals, again, we're working with each property owner, each business individually to make sure we're minimizing their impact and doing those water service tie-ins at a time that's convenient from them, either when they're shut down or in the evenings or on the weekends. So those started on Friday and continued over the weekend and today. Again, happy to report no seismic monitoring disturbances that are worth noting at this point. So we are being very cognizant and careful with that, to making sure we're not doing anything that might damage our historic structures. Work expected in the next 2 weeks. We do have some small water outages planned, actually for tomorrow morning. We've notified all the owners affected. Really, the main people that are affected is CVS and the gas station at the corner of 32 and Meridian. The nearest valve to shut off the mains on Meridian is down there just south of CVS, so they will be affected. But it'll be a very short tie-in done at 6 o'clock tomorrow morning. Should have everything back on before they open for business, obviously with the exception of the gas station. But they're aware of what's going to happen and are acceptable to it. Pavers are scheduled to start arriving this week. Again, water service laterals, I mentioned that, will continue to go into place. And we'll replace the last storm sewer installation at the northeast corner of Meridian and Main. Subgrade preparation will continue, as well as curbs on Main Street. Again, look for contractor updates from the contractor, from Heart of Lebanon, from the city engineer's Facebook page. We're trying to be trying to communicate as much as possible as we're going through on a day-by-day basis of what's happening. Moving on, the PASER study, the pavement assessment ratings, that study has been completed, and we are looking to get going on our street resurfacing bidding for the year. I sent out a list, and I can read this off to you, but we've got a list of streets. All I'm looking for tonight would be authorization to allow us to begin seeking bidding.
We're going to do that under new business, though, Kevin. Is that all right?
New business?
Yep.
Okay. Thank you. And then Indianapolis Avenue Phase 2, again, no updates there. Schedule is still on board for construction in 2019. Grant Street, I talked about that last week. The main focus right now is reviewing the letters of interest that we received from contractors, or from consultants, excuse me. I do have one correction. Last week, or at the last meeting, I told you there were 6 letters of interest. There were actually 9. There were 3 that were, I'm sorry to say, but buried in some incoming mail on my desk that I did not notice, that came in a couple of days early, so they weren't with the stack of everybody else's. But we did get 3 additional consultants looking to win that work. The 3 additional consultants are USI, VS Engineering, and Hanson. All 3 reputable firms that we add to the list of Butler, Fairman, and Seifert, GAI Consultants, Crossroads Engineers, MS Consultants, American Structure Point, and the Lockmuller Group. So we're currently scoring those. I'm just compiling the final score sheets as we speak, and we'll be ready to make that announcement to the state so that we can proceed with that contract negotiation at that time. And last but certainly not least, Riley Ridge, our new residential subdivision. I got word from our design consultants on the stormwater side of things that they are complete with their review, so we're ready to release that for final construction. And I know the contractor, Arbor Homes, is chomping at the bit to get started on those new lots. So should start seeing earthwork happen in the next couple of weeks as soon as they can mobilize. That's all I have.
A lot of stuff going on. Any questions for Kevin from the board?
No.
I do have one, though, quickly. I know we did some smoke testing on the, was that all worked out fine, or we can talk later on that one?
Well, yeah, I can give you a quick update on that. Yeah, we are tying into some pretty old storm sewer infrastructure in our downtown. It functions well. It's been in place for a long time, but we don't have any drainage complaints down there. But we felt compelled to do some investigation before we start putting a lot of this expensive infrastructure on top of it. We video cameraed that last week. Had some concerns. The line is functional. It's in good shape, but it's also very old. We have a lot of tie-ins into this storm sewer main that are probably historic tie-ins to buildings. So the mayor's correct. On Friday last week, I spent the better part of the day out there working with some consultants, smoke testing the line and trying to track down where all those lines went to. We crawled in crawl spaces, we were in basements, we looked all over the place trying to make sure that we can perpetuate any drainage infrastructure that's in the downtown. And we did find that some of the roof drains, like on Key Bank and the Huntington Bank, are connected into this old storm sewer. We are getting proposals right now for the lining of that storm sewer. It's a process whereby we would effectively coat the inside of the pipe with a PVC-like material, adding 50 years to the lifespan, which is comparable to any pipe material that we could use. And so we're currently working with our consultants and contractors to figure out the best way forward on that. And we should have more information in the coming days. But I can say with confidence that that is an additional add to the project that we weren't anticipating in the current white construction contract. So there will be an extra there. Maybe not a change order because it may be done by an outside third-party consultant. We're just trying to find the best option moving forward. So as soon as we have that picture clear for everyone, we'll have to bring that to you for a decision there.
Okay, sounds good. Any other questions from the board? Any questions from the public?
I'd like to add that if they do line that, it's not gonna, they can be done with that. They don't even have to be there anymore, so it won't slow down the project at all.
Okay.
Yeah, that's part of the reason why we're doing this. We have two options, actually. One would be to lay new pipe. Laying it in the existing location is problematic. This is a 12-inch line. It's 12 foot in the ground, probably about 12 foot from the fronts of the buildings. That's problematic. We have an option to relay new pipe out in the center line of the road. Obviously, that causes some construction delays and is probably not our preferred method. The lining method seems to provide us with the stability, the structural stability that we need, and also, more importantly, allows us to keep the schedule and does make the connections to those existing buildings easier to deal with rather than trying to replumb those building connections to new pipes.
Well, I know we've done a lot of lining of pipes in other parts of the town as well too. So
it's a real common process for our utilities department, especially on the sanitary sewers. It's very common on storm sewers as well. But I will say, as a matter of practice, the city of Lebanon hasn't done a lot of storm sewer lining over its history. But it's a completely valid application for storm sewer as well.
Okay. All right. Thank you, Kevin. Appreciate your report. Okay, next up is Planning Department. Ben?
Good evening, board members. Planning Department continues to be busy this summer. We completed an additional 49 building inspections over the last couple of weeks, so Gary stays busy. We also issued an additional 25 permits, and most of it residential, but we did have some commercial remodels going forward as well. We'll expect to see that pick up as we get later this year. I know Kevin mentioned Riley Ridge is going to start construction. We would expect them to start pulling some permits maybe as soon as the end of the year for their model homes and things like that. So we do expect going into 2019 that we're going to get particularly busy on the residential side. And we have some commercial projects coming up too. So we're going to stay busy there. Code enforcement, again, we continue to stay busy over the summer. Trash and debris and vehicle and grass and weeds are our typical issues over the summer. We did just hire just this last week a new code enforcement planner person. Her name's Lauren Gillingham. So she's going to be helping out Makeda. We're going to start doing some what I'm right now calling neighborhood blitzes coming up here in the next few weeks. We're going to identify some targeted areas and actually essentially do some patrols and identify some other issues beyond just complaints that we receive. So we're going to start doing that in some of our neighborhood areas. So we'll start laying out what those little neighborhood areas are and start doing some of those more proactive code enforcement correction over the next few weeks. In terms of special projects, the comprehensive plan continues to move forward. We've got our second steering committee meeting actually tomorrow evening. So we'll be reviewing some of the information we collect over the last few weeks with some of our focus groups, assembling that information, kind of filling that out. We do have the first opportunity for the general public to participate, and we do want as many people as possible to participate in this. That is tentatively scheduled for the evening of July 31st. The exact time and location will be identified tomorrow evening, so we'll be sending out ads and all that good stuff probably before the end of the week or the start of next week. So that opportunity is coming up, and again, we invite anyone and everyone to participate. We encourage them to. We need the general public to provide input as part of this process. So that is coming up here very soon at the end of the month. One final thing, as also in terms of citizen engagement, this planning department is now fully 100% using our new permit software. One component of that is what I'm calling community feedback. There is an app that the general public can download to their smartphones that allows them to essentially a direct connection to the planning department. So if somebody is concerned about, grass and weeds or the junk car or a pothole in the street, they can submit that to us via that app, and that allows us to filter it to the correct person in the city so we can address it. The good thing about that is that whoever submitted that complaint or request or comment can keep track of how it's progressing through the city system. So they can go back a few days later and just say what's going on with that. They can see who it's been assigned to. If there's any direct feedback the city provides, it will go directly to them, so they can, they can keep track of how that's progressing. So we do encourage people, if they have any questions or comments or have any complaints they'd like to submit, feel free to use that app. If they prefer not to call. So hopefully that'll become more readily available. And if you have any questions on how to get to this app, just call the planning office and we can get you to the right spot. And that's all I have.
Okay, thank you, Ben. Any questions from the board? No. Any questions from the public? Okay, thank you, sir. All right, next up, Street Department, Larry.
Good evening, everyone. Since the last council meeting, the Street Department has received additional 43 calls and 2 for missed recycling, 6 calls for potholes, and 35 calls for brush to be picked up. Since then, the Street Department's been busy working on Busby Street. The first part of pavement was put in. Like Kevin said, Saturday was the curbs. It was worked out pretty good. The curbs look really sharp. Thanks to David Newell and Tom, they've worked along with us to try to get the old curb out, and worked out pretty good. The Street Department will continue to pick up brush when we have time, when we're not working on streets or easements, and then we're always telling the residents they're more welcome to bring the brush to the Street Department. We have a dumpster and a pile out there that we can put in the dumpster itself. Street Department has helped again. Kevin mentioned this with the new crosswalks on Euland Drive, East, and Meridian Street. They're fluorescent green. They really are working pretty good. I've noticed a lot of people starting to slow down for the pedestrians at the crosswalks. One of our employees has taken interest in the street sweeping program, Ryan Lindeman. He's been there almost a year. He's going to be taking over the sweeper and doing a daily sweeping route. Our city is actually divided into 5 routes, but with the subdivisions, I don't think realize we've got 27 subdivisions and we're going to get more. So those subdivisions usually take about 4 days. So this daily week sweeping program is actually going to be about 10 days. But at least we've got a schedule, and we'll try to not hop from one place to another. Then also the Street Department's been busy with the mowing. We're doing easement cleaning and mowing along the roundabouts out here on the Indianapolis Avenue, and then also the annexation part. That's all I've got, sir.
Okay. Thank you, Larry. Any questions for Larry from the board? No. Any questions from the public? Okay. Thank you, sir. Kevin, are you doing Joe's report? Okay.
I would not pretend to be able to fill Joe's shoes, but in typical Joe fashion, he left us a well-prepared video to watch.
Okay. So, he's the communications director. So
let me verify I can connect this quickly.
Doing such a fine job so far.
Yeah. That's what you get when you got the backup team. Do we have a HDMI cable?
Someone walked out.
I got one.
hey, let's have a stormwater department. Dave, we're working through this.
Don't mind my assistant, Matt.
Does he know how to turn pages?
Yeah, he's good. Let's see, we've had 11 calls since our last Board of Works meeting. Like everybody else, we try to respond to those within 24-hour period. Keep doing our weekly inspections after big rain events, which luckily ain't had too many of those lately, but we do them weekly either way. We have repaired 7 more catch basins since then. And just today we was out cleaning catch basins in case we get rain tonight. So that's all I have.
Okay. Any questions for Dave from the board? Thoughts on the new experimental curb that we've been doing on Busby?
Me and, like Larry was up there early that morning, me and Josh Spencer was up there. Looks pretty good.
Okay. All right, so start thinking about some areas where we could use it in town.
Yeah,
so.
yeah, that's
All right,
what
great.
I was, it's pretty good though. It looks.
Good. All right, thanks, Dave. All right, take two.
Take two. That's what you get with the B team here.
Their sound or?
Take three. Just slow. No computer.
I don't know if this is going to work.
I apologize.
That's fine. We'll try it some other time.
To the board and to Joe. Why
Joe
don't I
can
make
give his
sure
report.
This gets to our Facebook page and our website if we can, and we'll get that up there. So
Sounds good. All right.
apologize,
thank
I
you.
grabbed an old computer.
We'll get a
I'm
double
speed
report
here.
next meeting. So, all right. That concludes department head reports. Move on to new business. First item I have here is street department unit price bid opening. This is for sand, gravel, oil and grease, concrete, and asphalt. So, we'll have Rob. You want to open this?
You want to note old business?
I didn't have any old business. Is there any old business?
No.
Okay. Yeah, that'd be helpful, actually.
Okay, Mayor, Board, the first itemized bid is from the Boone County Automotive, Inc. And this is, has a bid offer proposal and a certain amount of items in here, 55-gallon drum, oil at $405, as well as another line item at $519.75, grease at $2.95 per tube, premium multi-purpose grease, $2.70 per tube, antifreeze at $9.59, and another antifreeze 55-gallon drum at $450.
All right.
And that is, so we'll review this one. That's the first one.
I believe that's the only one on oil and grease.
Okay.
Larry?
Second one is from Calumet Civil Contractors in Whitestown. And their bid for asphalt surface milling and patching at a quantity of 200 per ton, a unit price of $215 for a total amount of $43,000.
Anything else on that one?
I'm just going to make sure that, see if they had anything else in here.
They may have also did concrete, maybe on the other thing.
I think they only did asphalt. There are a couple that do have both,
Okay.
according to their message. They submitted it.
We can look to, I mean, there's several in here. I don't see any other piece at this point. but
Okay,
we
we're
can-
just opening so we can review them later too for more.
Triangle Asphalt Paving Corporation out of Lebanon is the third. They bid on the first item, a quantity of A&E liquids, and they have various grades in here at a unit price of $5 for a total bid of $12,500. They also bid on the milling at 200 tons, HMA surface at $75 for a total price of $15,000. They further bid on the milling cleanup disposal of a large or small milling machine at $73 for a total $14,600. And then those three totals were $42,100.
Okay.
Yep.
Okay.
And we have Wilson Concrete Construction out of Lebanon. Bid on the concrete, one unit at $10 a square foot for a total of $28,800. They also then bid on the sidewalk at $10.20 a square foot for $102,000. I believe that's it for them.
Okay. It's probably ADA ramp and then also the...
Yep.
Yep. Okay.
Is that it?
Anything else? One more?
One more.
Milestone Contractors out of Indianapolis is the last one. They bid on patching materials, and there's several categories here. The first one being number 9 binder of an 12.5 millimeter HMA mix at $50 per ton. Number 8 binder at 19 millimeters HMA mix at $47.25 per ton. Number 5 base at 25 millimeters HMA mix, $45.25 per ton. Number 11 surface 9.5 millimeters HMA mix at $55.25 per ton. They also did a winter mix at $119 per ton. Then they did an additional winter mix delivered to stockpile at Lebanon Street Department at $130 per ton.
Okay. Any other ones, Tanya? We're good?
Nope, that's it.
Okay, that concludes the bid opening. We will then select bids at our next meeting, which will be on July 23rd. All right, I had a couple more items that came up late, board. The first one is a surplus vehicle request from Stormwater Department. David, you want to introduce that? Bill will have him fill out the form for you later.
We have
Yeah, I
forms
believe
already filled out.
He's got the
Oh, okay,
forms.
you're good, okay.
Yeah, all he has to do is just make the,
Okay, great.
the request.
Okay,
Yeah, we
got
just,
the form to you.
we just like surplus the 2014 Chevrolet Captiva car.
Okay. Because we're getting trucks for you guys, so
We have a truck we got delivered Friday.
Okay, great.
One of the two, and we'll get the other one when the other ones come in.
Okay, great. Any questions for Dave about the surplus vehicle?
No, I'll get with you and we'll make arrangements.
The truck should be more useful to you guys than the car, right?
Yep.
Yep.
Okay,
Do we have the paperwork on that?
Bill does.
I do. I'll give, yeah,
Okay.
On the car or the truck?
On the car.
on the
Oh,
car.
okay.
Or you just surplus?
Yeah, the car.
Okay.
Yeah, I'll get you
I
a
have
copy.
a copy of it too, if you need it, Tanya, with the VIN and all that.
Yeah, why don't you give that to Tanya?
Any questions, discussion on the surplus of the vehicle request? Okay, would entertain a motion to surplus the Chevy Captiva.
I make a motion, we declare the 2014 Chevrolet surplus.
We have a motion to surplus. Is there a second?
Second.
Motion and a second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? All right, has been surplused. All right, now finally, Kevin, the street paving plan for the year.
I might need to call on Mr. Lee for some support here, but I forwarded a list to the board members for your consideration. The street department put this list together. At the top of the list, you'll see an area that's boxed out. These are projects really from last year that are either had monies encumbered or had contracts in place. But these are Green Street from Lebanon Street to South Meridian, Walnut Street from Lebanon Street to South Meridian, Ash Street from Lebanon Street to South Meridian, Fordyce Street from Park Drive to John Bart Road, and then a group of alleys between East Street and Meridian Street, south of Hewlin Street, north of the creek. So really the areas that took a lot of beating over the construction on Meridian and East Street over the last couple of years, we'd like to get those alleys cleaned up. Moving on to new projects that we would like to tackle this year. Elm Street from Grant to East, Elm Street from State Road 39 to Coombs Street to the past Coombs Street to the dead end. Southwest Street from 32 to Ash Street. South Coombs Street from 32 to Noble Street. Clark Street from Noble Street to Dick Street to the dead end. Jameson Street from Noble Street to the cross alley at Dick Street. Sunset Drive from Noble Street to West Walnut Street. Ryan Street from State Road 32 to North Street. South Street from Indianapolis Avenue to South Grant Street. Pearl Street from South Meridian Street to Indianapolis Avenue. Pearl Street from South Patterson Street to Southwest Street. Drake Street from Main Street to North Street. Trips Avenue from Lebanon Street to North Meridian. Moving on, Rovine Drive, parts of the Marley subdivision. Elizabeth Drive, Mary Drive, and Victoria Drive. These are all in that Marley subdivision in the northwest side of the city. And then we would also like to do some strip patching, areas of North Grant Street that we've seen some deterioration. More strip patching on areas on Elm Swamp Road. And then there's some crack sealing that we'd also like to do. North Meridian Street from Hewlin to North, Indianapolis Avenue from Jean Lewis Ford to 100 South in both roundabouts. Edwards Drive from DA Lubricants to Mount Zion Road. Hendricks Drive from Indianapolis Avenue to Longley Drive. I know it's a long list, but all I'm asking for tonight is just authorization to allow us to seek bids or proposals for that work. I say bid or proposals. That will obviously all this will be pending legal review and subject to Indiana bid law statutes.
Okay. Do I hear a motion to authorize the city engineer to go and solicit bids or proposals for these projects? You can just say so moved if you want. Any questions for Kevin on the projects then? I need a motion from somebody to authorize the...
I'll make a motion we authorize.
Thank you, Dick.
Kevin
Appreciate
to
it.
Move forward to proposals.
Okay, we have a motion to solicit proposals. Is there a second?
Second the motion.
Motion and a second. I think it was Jane. All those here say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Those opposed? All right.
One point of clarification on your previous motion regarding change order 4 on East Street.
Yeah.
I don't know if the motion included authorization to allow the mayor to execute that agreement. We may need to do.
I'll add that to the motion.
We have a
Allow
motion
the
to
mayor
amend the
authorization
previous
to sign
motion.
The change order number 4.
Okay. Is there a second for Dick's motion?
Second the motion.
Motion is second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? Okay. I think that's everything I had. Any other questions for Kevin on the plan?
That's all I have. I promise.
Okay. Thank you, sir. All right, that concludes new business that I have. Anything from the board? Okay, I move on to claims now. I would entertain a motion.
I make a motion, we approve the claims.
We have a motion to approve the claims. Is there a second?
Second.
Motion and a second. All those here say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? All right, claims are approved. All right, any announcements or discussion?
Make a motion we adjourn.
We have motion adjourned. Is there a second?
Motion.
Motion and a second. All those here say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? All right, we are adjourned. The redevelopment commission meeting will begin at 6:30.